Thanks, Rico. Well, it's a battle of district foes here in Hays County as the number 8 ranked Geronimo Navarro Panthers take on the Texans of Wimberley, and this is a district matchup that goes way deeper than just District 14 4A Division 2. Navarro has had the calling card for Wimberley for the past 2 seasons in district play, but both these teams have met in the regional finals the past 2 years, and Wimberley making their way to the state semifinals. So tonight, will history repeat itself, or will the Texans' high-flying spread offense have something to say about that? Before we figure that out, let's throw it over to Paige Schnorbach in China Spring. Paige.
As we now take you live to Texan Stadium and a very own Ashley Pickle. You know her well. Everybody knows her, following her on Twitter these days. Ashley, we've got 2 really unique quarterback comparisons in this game. We've got 2 completely different offenses. Take me inside the huddle. Break it down. What are we going to see tonight?
Man, you're right. When you want to talk about yin and yang, welcome to the quarterback situation here in Hays County. When you take a look at Navarro, they're a team that runs the slot T, so you're thinking, why in the world are we talking about their quarterback? Well, it's because he's a 3-year veteran starter. Nick Billings has been the guy, and typically you don't need the guy when it comes to running the slot T, but Coach said he's that weapon that you need. He goes, he's a real selfless player, too, because he understands his role in the slot T. They're going to 3-yard punch it down your throat every run, but the thing is it allows him, he's got a great deep ball, so on times when they get trapped, they're able to go to that. On the other side of the ball for Wimberley, they've got sophomore quarterback Cash McCollum. Now, the McCollum last name, not something that hasn't been heard here in Wimberley before, but Cash is running the spread offense as a sophomore, so obviously way younger than Nick, but on the other side of that, he's thrown for over 1,300 yards and 18 touchdowns so far, so this kid has got an arm on him, and he's, 15 years old, guys? So complete polar opposites on the offensive side of the ball here.
Ashley, you know me, we'll talk offense, but I love defense. What about this code red defense I've heard about?
Coach, when you've got a defense that has a name like Code Red, you are ready to see the fireworks on that side of the ball, and that's exactly what happens. Wimberley has done an unbelievable job of stopping teams from their defensive front, and I mean, the most they've given up all year was 21 points to land passes, a historically high-flying offense there, but Coach said they run the odd front, and so really what it allows them to do is they said, we just try to cause as much chaos as we can. That's kind of where the Code Red, the siren type of name comes from that, and it's just, look, we don't ever want to be super set. We want to make the offenses be guessing what they're going to be going up against, and they've got a big test, obviously, against a very well-run and disciplined slot T here tonight against Navarro, but ultimately speaking, they've proved themselves so far this year, and Coach has big faith in this defense to be able to understand their assignments, and he said, man, they can get to the ball quick here, Coach.
Ashley, great job as always. We will look forward to checking back with you all night long as the highlights roll in. She's always at those tough physical football games. And our very own Ashley Pickle caught up with Doug Warren at the break.
Coach, a handful of turnovers on down, 2 interceptions, 1 to end the half, and a scoreless points allowed. What do you have to say about that Code Red defense so far?
Well, you know, they've played lights out all night long, and you can't say enough about them. They've been doing that all year, and something we hang our hat on, and man, they're just playing really well tonight.
You told me earlier this week that offensively it was going to be about taking advantage of the tries that they give you there. What is your message to the guys at halftime?
Well, number one, we've had opportunities, and we've shot ourselves in the foot, a couple of penalties, made a bad read, and didn't have a very good throw, but you know, we're able to come back and settle down and do some good things, and got the lead now, you know, and fixing to get the ball coming out after halftime, so that helps.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
27-0 over the state-ranked Panthers, and on the scene down there in Central Texas is our own Ashley Pickle. And Ashley, I want to ask you a little bit about what you've seen from Cash McCollum, the quarterback here from Wimberley. You know, Wimberley obviously has a rich history of putting out big-time quarterbacks. Feels like Cash McCollum could be the next one.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Tep, the name McCollum is no stranger. Obviously, Cooper McCollum, who is now on the A&M team, Texas A&M team, was the older brother of Cash. And I actually had the opportunity to talk to Coach McCollum, his father, before the game. We were catching up, and he told me, I was like, hey, does Cooper give Cash any sort of a hard time of, like, oh, I'm still better than you? And he chuckled and he goes, man, during the off season, he tells him, hey, man, you got to keep it up. You've got to keep grinding. But he goes, then he'll come home and he'll look at me after a game like this and go, shoot, that kid might be better than I am. And Cash has been spot on tonight. Like you said, straight Cash money, and the name fits just like it does. But him being able to connect with his receivers, I mean, it's an easy release. And for a sophomore, guys, this kid is young, and he is so calm back there in the pocket that to come into a big-time game like this and have the performance that he's had tonight, truly spectacular from the sophomore quarterback.
Yeah, poised under pressure, no doubt. Wimberley came into this one averaging 74 points a game in district play, and they did not slow down tonight. Let's talk about this all-star wide receiver they have, Ashley. What makes him so good?
Yes, Juan Olmedo, man. So first off, let's go back to last year, actually, in the Navarro game. It was about week 6 last year. He went out with a broken foot, and that was a huge teardown for this Wimberley team because he's such an explosive receiver. Well, it turns out he's back this year and better than ever, and I have been just unbelievably impressed by the way that he is able to run. He's kind of, he gets in the inside, he'll do a lot of little slant routes, but the head down determination after he gets the ball, he's like, try to stop me because you can't. And Navarro's defense has just been absolutely blitzed by him, completely struggling to bring him down. He's a real big-bodied kid, and if you're in the recruiting world and haven't paid attention to Juan Olmedo here in Wimberley, maybe now is the time because he's putting on a clinic tonight, guys.
Scoring points in bunches and playing great defense. Ashley, great job tonight. We'll check back with you again later.
I was an only child, and my husband was one of 10, and that was I always wanted a lot of siblings for my kids. And with my 5th one, I couldn't have any more children, and one of my friends had adopted, and she kind of opened my eyes to the needs of children in other countries who don't have families and don't have opportunities.
It was the dream of having a big family for the Rays. After having 5 of their own biological children, they saw a need in other parts of the world for children to have a loving, caring home. That's where they ended up in Liberia, adopting 3 children, one of which named Moses. And Mo, well, he had a passion very early on that was seen from the entire family.
He had this motorcycle helmet that he carried and wore in this rocket ship backpack to the toilet, to everywhere he went. And I didn't even put it together with football until one of the men at our churches coaches a little Pee-wee League flag football, and he said, oh, you should have the boys play.
Growing up with a big family helped a lot because they were very energetic, loud. We always did stuff together.
Even like in 5th grade, he'd sit there with a pad and tell me about offense and the different plays. He wanted me to understand it. And he couldn't get the math real easy, but he could get all that plays, and he just lit up explaining it. And it was like no other sport, and it made me excited to watch him. I had 3 boys play football.
You realize that at such a young age that he's blessed with some pretty good talent, and you can pick that out at an early age, and so it's been fun to watch him develop.
And with a mix of a passion for the game and those God-given abilities, the dream doesn't stop there. Moses hopes to go on and play college football and one day hopefully make it to the NFL. But the bigger dream there is to show other kids that it doesn't matter what your situation is, it's what you make of your situation.
Hopefully go play college football somewhere, get a degree, and then hopefully make it to the NFL someday.
No matter where you come from or what your background is, or that you have that opportunity that football has given him. He's been blessed with a lot of God-given talents, and he's been able to take those talents and use them to the best of his ability.
Ashley Pickle was on hand. She caught up with the quarterback of those Wimberley Texans, Cash McCollum.
Cash, we heard Coach telling y'all in the locker room before the game that this was your opportunity to go get district champs. You just broke out the huddle with district champs. How does it feel, man?
It feels good. Our defense played lights out. Our offense struggled in the first half, but at the end we got it rolling.
Now, you're a young guy to come out here and lead your team against, a heated rival like this. What did it mean to be able to step up big when it mattered most?
It felt good. Our O-line did an amazing job. We knew they were going to send pressure, but our O-line handled it good.
And the season's not over yet. You've got a long way to go. You're a leader on this team. What do you tell your guys heading into practice next week?
I just tell them that we all know that we have the opportunity to make it, that we're going to make it to state.
Appreciate it. Go Celebrate with your team.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Let's bring in Ashley Pickle, who is live on the scene there in Wimberley. And Ashley, we're going to talk a lot about this defense, but first let's focus on the sophomore quarterback, Cash McCollum, a young man who seems like he's playing well beyond his years.
He absolutely is, Tep. And we heard Coach Warren tell us earlier, to his guys, this is your opportunity. Here is your opportunity to go out against the 8th-ranked team in the state, a district foe, a long history here, and to go out and secure that spot and be the front runner in 14-4A. And after the game, it was just all smiles from Coach.
Unbelievable. I mean, you got to first off, you give you hats off to the defense to shut those guys out. It's pretty that don't happen very often, and they played lights out, and then offense capitalized when they had to. So, man, that's a great program over there. It's always a measuring stick for us, and glad to get the win.
Our defense played lights out. Our offense struggled in the first half, but at the end we got it rolling. We all know that we have the opportunity to make it, that we're going to make it to state.
And you can see there from the sophomore quarterback just such poise, and it's something that you don't see often from a kid that young, but he knows that this was a big check mark tonight, but the road doesn't end here.
Well, one thing also, Ashley, that comes to mind is that Code Red defense. Whenever you talk about Wimberley, we talk about Code Red and the defense, and that while they'd taken some lumps in some prior years due to injuries and things like that, looks like it's back, at least judging from how they performed tonight.
Code Red was sounding the alarms on high volume tonight, and a real big thing coming into this game when you're going up against a slot T like Navarro, what Coach said is it comes down to championship eyes. And what he means by that is, first off, you have to get lined up correctly, but after that, it's all about your eyes, and championship eyes to him is something that you can look at and say, don't get caught looking at the ball. You have to just fill your keys and do your assignment. And that was the whole mantra of the game tonight from that Code Red defense, was staying calm, not focusing too much on the ball, and attacking the slot T from head down and knowing where you were supposed to be.
All right, and Ashley, another thing, we take a look at this Wimberley offense. It's been an offense that's struggled with some inconsistency at times. They're playing a sophomore quarterback, things like that. They lost a game earlier this year, 7-0. And yet, it does feel like, in kind of typical Doug Warren fashion, this offense is coming along at the time when it needs to.
Exactly. It's, it's a little bit of a slow burn. You've considered La Vega kind of a little bit of a slow cooker, and maybe Wimberley is kind of on that same trek. And of course, you're coming into the year with a sophomore quarterback, and that takes some time. But as you know, in Wimberley, Texas, the McCollum name runs deep, and this one is just as good as any of the other one. Cash was phenomenal tonight, and you can see him really settling into his role. And Coach says he doesn't try to do too much. He goes out there and, again, well-disciplined, does his job, and it showed tonight.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting to me? It seems like it's the other way around, right? Wimberley usually wins the playoff games, and Navarro wins the regular season games, which makes it interesting going forward. This could be the first of two meetings. I look at this Wimberley team, and I think about the kids, the young ones on this team that are now seniors. They've been part of a state finalist team, state semifinal. There's a lot of experience there. And with Coach Warren, do you feel like this is one of the more dangerous teams with all that experience that they have?
Has to be. I mean, when you have those leaders, like we said, young sophomore quarterback, but when you see the leaders that he's got at the receiver position, the line is doing really well. That veteran momentum can really carry you through. And that was a big thing tonight when they were high-fiving and stuff, and the fans were kind of walking down onto the field. They were like, hey guys, we'll see you again in the fourth round, and they just expect that from here. And of course, we know when you look at Region 4, Cuero's probably going to have something to say about that, but it very well could happen, and both of these teams want it to happen because I think they thrive in this rivalry, Rico.
Ashley, we have you booked for the Alamo Dome for a quarterfinal rematch between the two. Just want you to do. All right, that's our Ashley Pickle.